If you weigh 180 pounds, you want to aim for 180 grams of protein up to 200 grams of protein. Usually I like to have a little safety net. I'll go like 10 or 20 grams above the 1 gram per pound. So if someone weighs 180 pounds, I'll probably give them 190 grams of protein. Once you set your protein, you can move on to your fats. Hey guys, Anthony Pietrobono here. Today's video, I'll discuss exactly how to gain muscle through manipulating your nutrition. So I kind of covered the training aspect of how to gain muscle or strength through your training. And some people were asking me how to actually go ahead and gain the most amount of muscle just through your nutrition manipulations alone. So like what kind of nutrition do you need to have to gain the most amount of muscle possible? So we're going to dive into that today. Start off right away. I'm going to discuss this. There's 5 main nutrition factors that are going to be influencing your results and how exactly you end up gaining that muscle. So the number one most important factor when gaining muscle is all about how many calories you're consuming. So that's what you need to be addressing first. Before you skip ahead into the minute details, we need to know, are you eating enough calories to gain muscle? So you need to be consuming more calories than your body needs to gain muscle. What does this mean? This means that if you're eating 2,700 calories a day and you're weighing yourself every single day and you're noticing that your body weight's dropping or it's staying the same, then you know you're definitely not at the right caloric intake to go ahead and gain muscle. Think about it this way. If you're consuming less calories than your body needs to function on a daily basis, then how is there going to be extra calories and proteins left over to rebuild your muscles bigger and better than last time? You know, it's going to be very difficult. So what you need is you need more nutrients than your body needs. So that way that excess amount can go ahead to actually be manufacturing and repairing those proteins and repairing those muscle fibers so they can grow back bigger and stronger than last time. So calories in versus calories out, most important nutrition factor. Are you consuming enough calories for your body? Easiest way to tell is to weigh yourself every single day. Weigh yourself 7 days a week, empty stomach as soon as you wake up. Enter it in an Excel spreadsheet. Then take in the average weigh-in from the previous 7 weigh-ins. You see that average weigh-in from those 7. You weigh yourself for the next week and you compare those weekly averages. So always look at the weekly average. More data points is much more accurate than less data points. You don't want to be weighing yourself once a week. People say that, I weigh myself once a week because I don't want the scale weight to throw me off. That's honestly the wrong mindset, because if you weigh yourself every single day and you take that average, that is far more accurate than just having one fluke weigh-in once a week, and it's just not reliable. So weigh yourself every day, check those averages. Are those average weigh-ins trending up? Are they trending down? Ideally, if you're not a beginner, you want to be trying to gain anywhere from 0.25 to 0.7 pounds per week. So a quarter of a pound to about 3/4 of a pound per week. That's your average weigh-in you want to see if you're not a complete beginner. If you're a complete beginner and you're just starting working out, then you can totally go for 1 pound or even up to 1.5 pounds of weight gain per week, because you can actually get away with gaining more muscle and gaining muscle faster than someone who's already been training. So that's the first step. If you're not in that range, then you need to adjust your intake accordingly. So if you're consuming 3,000 calories a day and you weighed yourself every day, you saw that your weight only increased by 0.1 pounds that week. It's not enough. Up it by another 200 calories. Now you're having 3,200 calories every single day. You weigh yourself every day and you see you went up 0.4 pounds this week. Cool, let's keep it the same, continue. You're just gonna rinse and repeat, adjusting your intake depending on whether you're not gaining or if you're gaining too much. You just adjust those numbers, and then that's going to lead us into our second point, which is the number 2 most important nutrition factor, which is your macronutrient ratios. So exactly how many carbs, fats, and proteins you're consuming. Very important. 2 main factors that are the most important are calories in and calories out, and your macronutrient ratios. So for the macro ratios, this is very complicated depending on the individual. It's more individualized per person. I can give some guidelines, but obviously it's not going to be the best route. Obviously, a customized nutrition approach is going to be better, but there's a guideline you can work with. So the guideline to work with for your macronutrient ratios is if you want to be trying to aim for just over or even 1 pound, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 180 pounds, you want to aim for 180 grams of protein up to 200 grams of protein. Usually I like to have a little safety net. I'll go like 10 or 20 grams above the 1 gram per pound. So if someone weighs 180 pounds, I'll probably give them 190 grams of protein. Once you set your protein, you can move on to your fats. For your fats, you're going to want to consume anywhere from 0.25 to 0.5 grams of fat per pound of body weight. So again, if you weigh 180 pounds, then half of that would be 90 grams, so that's the upper limit, and then the quarter would be 45 grams, which is half of the 90. So for your fats, you're going to want to land anywhere from 45 grams at the absolute minimum for hormonal function and 90 grams for the kind of maximum you want to get away with, because you want to put the rest into carbohydrates, because carbohydrates are essential and the actually most important macronutrient when it comes to muscle gain. You can gain muscle on a ketogenic diet, don't get me wrong, but carbohydrates are much more superior than relying on ketones for fuel when it comes to gaining muscle. It's just the research has shown, it's what's proven, carbohydrates are what you need to focus on when you're trying to gain muscle. So fats just play as that, for overall hormonal function. They're there for that safety net. Make sure that all the metabolic processes can actually go ahead and be executed. And then carbohydrates are what you need to focus on to gain the muscle. So you're going to dump the rest of those calories into carbohydrates. So you set your protein, you set your fat, rest of the calories go into carbohydrates. So there you go. Now you have that set. Now you know how much protein, how much fat, how much carbs you're consuming, and you know your total caloric intake. Now, those are your numbers. You're going to work with those numbers. Those are going to be the best numbers for you. You can tweak, you can play around with what ratios work better if you know your body well. If you don't, then just rely and work with these numbers. And that brings us to our third most important nutrition factor, which is going into meal timing, nutrient timing, whatever you want to call it. This is all about, what kind of foods, what macros are you consuming at specific times throughout the day? What's your peri-workout nutrition looking like? What are you consuming in the pre-workout setting, the intra-workout setting, the post-workout setting? What are you consuming before bed? And what's your first meal looking like? All these factors, play a role in how you're going to gain the muscle and how much muscle you're going to gain, or how your performance is going to progress. And the performance is ultimately going to dictate also how much muscle you gain. So that's why you need to be optimizing performance. So nutrient timing, to take advantage of this, it's third on the list. It's not as important as calories and macros, but it's third on the list. It's still important. And what you're going to want to do is have pretty much most of your carbohydrates, and if you can, then all of your carbohydrates in the pre, intra, and post-workout setting. The pre-workout setting is your meal just before training. It can be anywhere from 30 minutes before training to 2-3 hours before training. Depends on your program, depends on what you're consuming in that time frame. For your pre-workout meal, what's optimal is, if it's a meal that's 30 minutes before your training session, you want minimal fats, high carb, moderate protein to spare the muscle. You want the minimal fats because you don't want those fats to slow digestion. You want the carbohydrates to get in there immediately so you can get that fuel in that glucose, get that glucose drip, so that way your blood glucose stays elevated throughout the workout. If you're having your pre-workout meal 2 hours before your training session, you're going to want to include some more fats in there to slow the digestion and slow the release of those carbohydrates, so you don't have a spike in your glucose and then have it drop and crash and your performance is going to suffer. So if it's 2 hours before, you want moderate fat, you want high carb, and you want moderate protein. If it's right before, you want low fat, high carb, moderate protein. When you have your intra-workout nutrition, if you have intra-workout nutrition, I recommend it, but it's up to you. If you're on low, you won't be on low calories because you're trying to gain some muscle. So I would definitely recommend it when you're trying to gain muscle, because that's when you can get in more of your calories. So you're going to want to have carbohydrates in the form of a highly branched stick like dextrin, carbolin. Those are the two that are kind of the best, that work the best. Pretty much because the slower gastric emptying rate, easier on the digestion. And what you're going to want to do is have anywhere from 50 to 100 grams of carbohydrates in that intra-workout setting. And you're going to sip that in like a 1 to 2 liter jug of water. Hydration is critical. So that's what you're going to have. You can also add a hydrolyzed whey protein for the ease of digestion and again to preserve the muscle protein breakdown. The branched chain amino acids now have been proven that they're not going to be doing much for your recovery. Essentially, amino acids are working better in your favor, but the branched chain amino acids are not working as best as they were previously stated before. New research is coming out and proving that, especially if you're already consuming enough protein through your diet. That's what your intra-workout is going to look like. You can have 25 grams of protein and about 50 to 100 grams of carbs. And then in your post-workout, you're going to want to have a meal. You can have that an hour after your training session. You want to be sipping that intra-workout throughout. And that intra-workout actually serves as your post-workout nutrition. So your post-workout nutrition doesn't matter as much if you have the intra-workout setting down pat. But post-workout meal, what you want to kind of have is lower fat, high carb, high protein, in the form of split with fructose and glucose, because that's going to absorb better. So fructose is in the form of fruit. You can have bananas, apples, grapes, pears, berries. Berries are great. And then you can have a protein source, any meat or whatever you like for your protein source, and minimal fats. You want to kind of keep the fats low because you want that quick digesting, that uptake. You want to get that in that post-workout setting. It's not super critical. It's not like anabolic window make or break you, but it is important. It can play a role. It can help you out a little bit more. So why not go for that extra 1 to 2%? And then if you're having your meal before bed, you're going to want to still keep some carbohydrates, because that meal before bed is going to be helping you get a deeper sleep. Carbohydrates at night are proven to help wind you down and actually help you fall asleep quicker and stay asleep in a deeper REM sleep, so you can get more sleep quality as you're asleep throughout the night. So that's where you want to kind of have some carbohydrates in the morning. If you don't train in the morning, don't have any carbohydrates. Keep a high fat, high protein meal, no carbs. For your high fat, you can have something like eggs and avocado. You can have something like you can have peanut butter with in a protein shake. Lots of options, right? So that's a full breakdown there. I just gave you your pre-workouts, your intra-workout, your post-workout nutrition, your meal before bed, and your first meal of the day. That's a full breakdown. That's 5 eating times. That's 5 meals. That's great. That's your full meal plan right there. You can just make that and follow that. That's awesome, right? So take care of those first 3. Calories in, make sure you're eating enough. Macronutrient ratios, make sure they're working in your favor. And nutrient timing, make sure that nutrient timing is all about exactly around your workout. You want the nutrients to be specific to when you work out. Those are the top 3. Those are the top 3 I would stress about. Then there's number 4 and there's number 5, all right? We're going to have some fun with 4 and 5. 4 and 5 are definitely not essential, not very important, but if you want an extra 1%, I mean this, an extra 1%, then do this, all right? Number 4 is your food composition. So this means essentially if you're having brown rice or if you're having white rice. Brown rice has 1 gram more fiber. It can slowly digest a little bit longer. White rice doesn't have as much of those, those vitamins and minerals. It doesn't have as much fiber. I think it also has 1 gram less of protein per serving. That's food composition. So you can choose the white rice, you can choose the brown rice. If you choose the brown rice, you might get a 0.0000001.5% increase in your results. Totally negligible. Like, I'm totally making fun of this. What's more extreme is, you can have the same macronutrients from Pop-Tarts, or you can have those same macronutrients in like rice with a little bit of coconut oil. If you match those same caloric intake, you have 1 Pop-Tart, or you have that. That's the different food composition. If you want to get more optimal, you would go over the rice and the coconut oil over the Pop-Tarts. Long term, I don't encourage having a lot of refined sugar, so that's why I wouldn't go for the Pop-Tarts. But again, it's not a huge deal if you do consume some refined sugars throughout the day. It's not going to make or break you as long as the first 3 are in order. If you're taking advantage of how many calories you're consuming, your macronutrient ratios are still hitting them, and you're optimizing your nutrient timing, and you throw in a Pop-Tart in one meal instead of having rice with coconut oil, you're not going to notice any difference in results. I can tell you that from experience. I can tell that in literature. There has been no difference. Long-term results, who knows on the hormonal aspects. You could have less insulin sensitivity if you're having a Pop-Tart every single day instead of having the rice with coconut oil every single day. So obviously it's not something you want to abuse, but I'm saying don't stress over number 4 and 5. Don't stress over 4, which is the food composition. Don't stress over it. Number 5 is going to be supplements. So again, you don't have to stress over supplements. The one supplement I would recommend for muscle gain, very highly ethical, proven supplement, creatine monohydrate, take 5 grams every single day. Other supplements, you could throw them out the door, non-essential, but creatine honestly does help that extra 1%. You can get 1 extra rep with creatine. So think about it, do the math. If you get 1 extra rep every single set, every single workout over a year, it's a lot of reps, it's a lot of total volume, and you can get definitely more results from being on creatine monohydrate. The rest of the supplements, whey protein is definitely not essential. It's only good if you're not getting your protein requirements through your other sources, and it's great for convenience, also to curb that sweet tooth, but non-essential. Other things like the typical mass gainers and stuff, non-essential. Health supplements, I would recommend, if you're going for a fish oil or a multivitamin, that's why I had another video on, top supplements that you want to invest in. But that's about it, guys. So just my point here is, you can see my tone and my mood. I didn't really care much about the last two. Number 4, number 5, don't matter much. Don't stress over them. Stress over how many calories you're consuming. Stress over your macronutrient ratios, and stress over your nutrient timing. Nutrient timing, not even as much. First 3 is what you want to focus on. Implement everything in this video. If you guys found some value from this video, after you tried out these tips, if you learned something, give me a thumbs up. Really helps the channel grow. And comment below, give me guys some tips. Let me know what you want to learn about. We'll talk more about that. I'll give you everything I know, everything I use with my current advanced physiques athletes. And yep, I will talk to you guys later. See you in the next video. Peace. We'll be right back.